This is Hardball with Chris Matthews, January 31st, 2019.
We were all on the same page. I'm joined now by California Congressman Ted Lieu, a Democrat who serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee and also the Judicial Committee. Janet Pennypiece, White House reporter for Bloomberg News, and Evan McMullen, a former CIA operative and former independent presidential candidate. Congressman Lieu, what is going on here? Why is this president so willing? Well, let me ask a more different question. Why are Republicans like John Thune of South Dakota and Roy Blunt of Missouri, these are regular Republicans. For the first time, we're seeing Republicans saying to President, you're off base. Pay attention to the intelligence community and stop fighting them.
Thank you, Chris, for your question. Let me first say, today is Thursday. That means Donald Trump is lying again. These intelligence chiefs were not misquoted because they were giving their live testimony before the Senate. It's all captured on videotape. And they submitted written statements, all of which contradict Donald Trump. And you see Republicans now going against the president because one of the things that's made America great is we rely on facts. Our intelligence community, our Department of Defense, we innovate. We have a strong military, strong intelligence community because we rely on facts. And the president is not. And that's why I think you see this strong pushback.
Do you think it might, I know you're a Democrat and proud to be so, but do you think it might be that the Republican Party actually exists for a reason? That they have had a long stretch of years during the Cold War, especially, when they're very proud of being the hardline party on foreign affairs and defense, that they took pride in that. They weren't the ones that were loosey-goosey about the threats around the world, that they took them damn seriously. They used to before Trump came along.
That's correct. I also think last November's elections did have a result that changed some minds in the Republican Party. The Republicans got crushed. They lost by the largest popular vote margin in U.S. history. And I think that's making more Republicans stand up to the president because they also see that they have to win their own re-elections.
Shannon, what's his problem? I mean, it's like an 8-year-old kid says, I'm not eating my peas. I'm not putting on my clothes today I'm supposed to. I'm not doing anything right because I'm a little kid.
I think it reflects two personality traits that we've seen throughout his presidency. The first is his inability to see anything outside of himself, his inability to see the bigger picture. And some people will call that narcissism, but even people close to him, even people who like him will tell you that he's a narcissist. He has trouble seeing anything outside of himself. So if the intelligence doesn't reflect properly on him, he will attack the intelligence. And I think the other fact is he has a hard time seeing who his friends and who his enemies are. Your enemies are Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. Your enemies are not the intelligence community. It's not Gina Haspel or Coates. He can't see who his friends and his real enemies are here. And so he's lashing out at them while, again, not seeing the bigger foreign policy implication of attacking the intelligence community and then cozying up to authoritarian leaders.
Congressman, I heard your guffaw there. This psychological, have you seen it before where a person sees every criticism as an enemy who's a critic? In other words, he doesn't listen to the criticism. He just says, this guy turned on me. It's all about this person looking out and seeing enemies.
I have some acquaintances like that, but the President of the United States should never be like that. And that's why I think you have more and more Republicans standing up to the president, because they also took an oath, and it wasn't to Donald Trump or to a particular political party. It was to the Constitution of the United States and to protect it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And you're seeing both houses of Congress now much more willing to stand up to a president who really does show a very tenuous relationship with the facts.
I mean, you've been in the service, you've been undercover, like everybody else in the agency, you've had to deal with danger. What about the man or woman who's out there in some tricky spot like now? Maybe in Iran, maybe in Russia, maybe North Korea. We've got them everywhere. And they're facing execution if they're picked up. They got to lie about everything they do with their whole lives. It's always scary and it's unnerving. And then they hear the President of the United States is trashing their agencies, trashing truth.
He is.
What do they say? Do they have to? Who is this character?
Right. Look, I think it is demoralizing to a degree, but these people, I know them. They're so committed to their mission. They're going to continue on. But it does have an impact on the foreigners that they work with. And many people don't fully realize that we depend on our to achieve our national security objectives. We often, almost all the time, depend on foreign partners, either clandestine or otherwise. And when they see this kind of thing happening inside our country with our leadership, it makes them less confident, less sure that they can collaborate and work with us towards keeping our...
Who would want to be recruited by Donald Trump? Is that the question you're asking?
I don't know.
Who would
That
wanna
Donald
work-
Trump wouldn't be doing any recruiting, but he's perhaps been recruited. But I think that's the impact. But the other thing is
You
this.
think he might have been recruited by the Russians?
Well, I'm sort of being tongue-in-cheek here, but I do think the president is clearly under the
Well,
influence
the
of
FBI
Russians.
investigated him as such when he was coming
I've
to
been
office.
saying it for almost 3 years
But the
now, so
FBI
yes.
actually
Yes, I know.
they went after him. They sicked themselves on him, saying this guy is acting like an agent.
That's right. We'll find out more in time as these investigations go forward about that. But I have to say this. There are two big reasons why Donald Trump's failure to accept the facts about national security matter. Number one is our security agencies depend on authorities from the president in order to do their work. Sometimes they literally can't do things if the president won't allow them to do things. And if he's operating on a totally imaginary set of facts, that means it's harder for them probably to get his support for things. The other thing
They need findings, right?
they need findings, exactly, or other approvals from the administration. The other thing is this: as the president continues to message that North Korea isn't as much of a problem as it actually is, that ISIS is defeated even though it isn't, and that Russia isn't a problem like it is, if he continues to message like this, or as he does, he builds a constituency that also believes that. That's why you see, even as Congressman Lieu is saying correctly, that Congress is now standing up to Trump more. You see Republicans sort of divided on, for example, keeping sanctions on the companies of Russian oligarchs. In the past, that would have been a no-brainer, almost unanimous Republican vote. Now it isn't. So the reason for that is Trump is creating a constituency for a failure to confront and handle these real national security challenges, because he's got the presidential bully pulpit, and that's what he uses it for.
Well, the Senate delivered another rebuke to the president late today by backing Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's amendment disapproving the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan and Syria by a vote of, look at this, 68 to 23. That's, by the way, that's an impeachable and a convicting number, by the way. You only need 67 to get rid of a president. Republican John Kennedy of Louisiana voted against the amendment, telling NBC News, our Middle East policy right now looks like something my dog's been keeping under the back porch. Nobody knows what it is, but it's ugly. Congressman, I heard another guffaw from you. I don't know, this is disturbing you a lot, but this is our president, and you know it better than I do. This guy doesn't seem to have coherence. And the reason he doesn't have coherence in our foreign policies, he refuses to be a team member, even with his own team, which is strange behavior.
I'm on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and thank goodness now Democrats control. We're going to call in administration witnesses and ask them just simple questions such as, what is your strategy in Syria? What is it in Afghanistan? And I do want to make one more point about the Intel chief's testimony. If you read their written statements, if you watch what they said yesterday, they don't talk about the southern border at all. And now we have a president who's imagining this virtual invasion, his own words, at the southern border when that doesn't exist. So we have some clear problems at the very top of our leadership, and hopefully we can correct it as Congress continues its work this year.
Why is he saying something that has no basis in fact in terms of national security? Why does he keep saying it? What's your reading?
He did make a campaign promise saying that he would build a wall and Mexico was going to fund it, and he feels like he has to deliver on it. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get Mexico to fund it, and Congress is certainly not in a mood to fund it right now.
Is Congress any more likely to pay for that wall than the Mexican government?
Look, can I vote for something that's wasteful and inefficient and basically sort of stupid? I could if I get a lot of things in exchange are closer to our values, such as providing a pathway to citizenship for millions of people. I would absolutely consider that. But I'm not just going to vote for a straight-up inefficient wall when there's no invasion, when border crossings are at a 20-year low, and violent crime is down across the United States.
Thank you so much, Congressman Ted Lieu of California. By the way, some Senate Republicans are also urging President Trump to stay out of the fight over the border wall funding. The Washington Post reports 2 senior GOP aides said Trump and other top officials have continued to float a national emergency declaration to secure money for a border wall, though there's, quote, widespread resistance to it within the Senate. The president was asked about that prospect today.